Brad, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
I thought where we could kick off is some background on MDI Health. You're in the medication management space. That's a space we've covered in the past, but so it's interesting to see how different companies play into providing a solution there. So would love to hear kind of MDI Health's approach.
Yeah, great. Yes, that's exactly the space we're in. So you're obviously familiar with the space and such. We are an AI platform designed to help with the medication management space, designed to be used. Our clients are payers and providers. You probably familiar with the problem, but
Hmm.
just to provide a little context, which kind of leads into how we started. And where we are now, there's about a $500 billion problem in the U.S. related to medication and adverse events. In the last 20 years, the proportion of older adults that are taking five or more medications has tripled to where now it's one in three are taking five or more, one in six are taking eight or more. The problems with that is the resulting impact in terms of potential adverse events. So, 58% or so of people who take five or more medications are at risk for an adverse event or have shown to have an adverse event. So if you're one in three people taking it and you have a 60% chance of an adverse event happening, it's not great. And if you take more than seven, studies have showed that there's over an 80% chance of an adverse event happening.
Hmm.
So that is a major problem. 750 people a day are hospitalized in the U.S. For due to a side effect, a serious side effect of an adverse event of the medications they're on. So our hope is to keep people safe, keep people out of the hospital, um, both obviously for their health as well as the pocketbook. Can help both them and as well as payers and providers as well, keeping kind of costs out of the system. And that's where we focused.
Hmm.
So we our solution is built to predict an adverse event from happening and then have automatic recommendations from the system to mitigate those risks. So those
Hmm.
recommendations are changes to a medication regimen.
I'm curious at what point your solution is used, say in the case of a physician, before they prescribe the medication, would they run kind of the medication through knowing the other medications the patient is taking through your AI platform?
Yeah, so we're not there yet. It's a great question. That's obviously the best place to be is prior to the prescription happening.
Hmm.
So the point of prescription is where we're going to, but currently it's more reactive than proactive.
Okay.
So we are taking a tremendous amount of data. We're not just an interaction checker. So we take in claims data and EMR data. That's highly personalized. So we're getting um, pharmacy claims and medical claims. So we have medical conditions in the system, your history, and things such as that. So we can make a highly personalized take. People's metabolism, people's kidney functions, people's liver's functions, those all impact how medications are impacted. And so it's very personalized in
Mm.
terms of what if someone is going to have an adverse event or not. We're taking all that data, doing the analytics, and then spitting out the resulting recommendation. Because of that, and because of to your question, we are getting that data and then providing a look at what's currently happening and providing that information back. That information is then getting through our clients to the provider to be able to review and potentially adjust with the patient either on their next visit or if it's important to have them come in.
Okay, got it. And so the scenario we just talked about was working, I guess, is it with the provider or with the payer?
We're working with both. So from a payer perspective, they're doing the reviews and getting these out through either their normal workflows to the providers, or we have the capability of getting notes into the providers. It's about 90% of the providers' EMRs, throughout the country. So we can get that into their EMR directly. Yeah, our recommendations we're clinically evidence-based.
Hmm.
So the recommendations can come with resulting references to literature and things like that. um, and we can, exactly point out what we're suggesting to do. Typically, it's either reduce a dose, stop a medication, consider changing a medication,
Hmm.
and those types of recommendations.
Now, are you working with data sets that you were able to gain access to or a license in order to run your AI analysis?
Yeah, our clients typically provide all the data that we need. We can provide partnerships if there's other data sources that they're interested in getting.
Hmm.
But for the most part, our clients are providing us with those data sets. Payers are getting claims data, providers are getting claim data, provider groups or payviders are getting claims data as well as EMR data. And so we can take that in to run through the analytics.
Hmm. And what's been the level of adoption? Can you give us a sense for kind
Sure.
of where the company is with its client sets?
Yeah, oh yeah, client adoption or and traction
Client
or
adoption,
provider
yeah.
adoption. Okay, client adoption. Yeah, so we're still young, but we're growing. We worked with and work with, as I mentioned, providers and payers.
Mm.
We work with the third largest payer in the country. We've have some larger provider groups and good relationships there. So it's while we're still young, there's a high level of interest in this space, which is
Hmm.
probably why we're talking, I guess.
Hmm.
There is a high level of interest. We're seeing this really from all sets of the marketplace, both our prospects and clients, as well as within the financial part of the industry in terms of interest in investing and looking at this space as well and what's happening. I think everyone sees the problem.
Hmm.
You combine that with a huge number of an older population, the providers themselves having less time and being squeezed for time themselves, the complex nature of things with people on the polypharma world growing and how to assess somebody who's on five, seven, eight medications at once,
Hmm.
along with everything. So with that, our ability to help both the provider in terms of from their time perspective and the bottom line results is getting everyone's attention.
And I imagine currently today, the way this is handled is that the doctor would ask you what other medications you're on, and then from their own memory bank, like try to figure out, okay, we shouldn't prescribe you this because we know the
Correct.
inner. So we're prone to human error,
Yeah, prone to human error, and there's just it's almost somewhat impossible at some point when
right?
you're on that many medications to do something. So it's less error on the provider side than just an impossible ask.
Mm.
The providers are shown on most EMRs some sort of screen that shows potential interactions, but there's 80 different things on that, which are typically more like box warnings, things that you'd see. You might have this, it might cause this, it might cause this. It's not personalized and it's oftentimes not relevant.
Right.
What we do is with our system, we're able to generate the system generates the recommendations. We're typically forwarding 2 to 3 of the top recommendations, the ones that are most important, the ones that can have the biggest impact.
Hmm.
We have our own risk algorithms, which look at the probability of an event happening and the severity of that event happening. And
Hmm.
based upon that, we can send the most impactful recommendations. Nobody's going to change 8 medications at once,
Right.
right? The provider's not going to do it for the patient. The patient's not going to do it. It doesn't make sense. But there are typically 1, 2, 3 recommendations, which could be highly impactful to reduce their risk of some sort of event
Hmm.
that we can get. And with that, we're having tremendous adoption, back to that, on the provider side as well.
Hmm. Now, I think you've been with the company for 3, 4 years, I
Correct.
believe, first as COO. Can you give us a little bit of history on MDI Health? When was it founded? Was its
Sure.
original intention what it's doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. We were founded 7 years ago. Our founder led pharmacy for one of the largest HMOs in the world. And at the side, she had a practice for which providers were sending her patients, complex patients that they couldn't figure out what to do with, essentially, or they weren't getting better and they might have had problems and they were polypharma patients. And she would spend 3 hours per patient looking through all of these different factors, going through their entire chart, their entire history, their medical conditions, et cetera, at labs, and drawing out, mapping out what could potentially go wrong and what potential changes they should make. And she was having great success, and she had a thriving practice with this. And with that, she was like, this is, she was trying to look for a system out there that could help her, and there wasn't anything. So that was the
Hmm.
genesis of the idea was medication safety and keeping people healthy. So with that, it was built. So it took a number of years to do so. While we are AI, we are evidence-based and a clinical decision support system, which was hugely important for her, and I think for our clients, being able to see where these things came from rather than just a black box AI type of solution.
Hmm.
Um, and that's still a piece of our core today. So I mentioned so kind of medical utilization reduction, cost of care reduction is our core. Safety reduction is one of our core pieces, and that's what we do. We've also introduced a quality component for STARS, HEDIS, PQA quality measures, if you're familiar with those
Hmm.
within the health plan and payer space. Huge impact to overall quality of care, but also the bottom line bonus dollars tied to payers.
Hmm.
So
And
that component is also relatively new, but used.
and you have a background as being an executive of companies. What made you kind of choose to team up with MDI Health?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I've been in healthcare for 20, almost 25 years, I guess. Always been on the entrepreneurial side, led a company as COO, grew from 30 people to over 2,000 and sold for 900 million or something in a little over that in a few years ago. I spent a bunch of years on the PE side and venture capital side. Helping as an independent, working with healthcare technology companies, helping them grow as well. And during that time, I met the team
Hmm.
and the founder at MDI. Grass is always greener. For me, getting back into an operating role is always great. I love it. Um, but really for me, what I kind of learned about myself over the past 25 years and what I focused on is really kind of two things are, I guess, are my why.
Hmm.
Improving access to care and improving quality of care.
Hmm.
Those are the things that I care about most. And those are the two things that really are impactful with MDI. So the team, the technology, the impact that we could have, and fitting all, within what my focus has been and my career has been
Hmm.
the reason I jumped back in.
What's the biggest challenge today with scaling the company?
Uh, the biggest challenge with scaling the company, that's a good question. I think the interplay between recommendations and providers is changing, and the pharmacist role is changing.
Hmm.
So we've seen even in the last few years, just the last couple of years, the increase in the number of pharmacists that are being hired by provider groups, which has been a change. The
Hmm.
increase of pharmacists hired by health plans. And along with that, there's been a shift of kind of, I don't want to say accepting a responsibility shift, but the pharmacist role has increased, and there's a greater number of providers who are willing to partner with pharmacists on answers and solutions to what their patients are doing from a medication standpoint.
Hmm.
That's been a shift, which is I think is getting easier, but that's been one of the challenges initially, which is easing.
Hmm. Um, a couple other points to kind of building the company. One related to capital and investors, others related to your team. But let's hit the capital side first. You've got a great backer. I think Intel Capital is one of your
Yes.
investors. Um, what's the value that they've brought, they and others that are backing the company that they've brought to MDI Health aside from the financial capital?
Yeah, aside from financial capital, advice on building a company, right? I mean, I've done this kind of from both sides, but certainly experience in seeing companies. I mean, Intel Capital is a large number of companies they've invested in. They see, understand current size, growth, things to focus on. That has been helpful. Certainly, introductions, within the space has been helpful as well. So they have a large interest in the healthcare world as well.
Hmm.
And so utilizing that. So really kind of I'd say the partnership on the business has been great, along with our other investors, and then and introductions have been helpful.
Hmm. Do you anticipate raising another round of capital?
I think at some point, certainly. I mean, we're growing and doing well, and want to take advantage of even more opportunities in the marketplace ahead of us.
Uh-huh.
And so, but not extensively right now. Not doing another large raise at this time is not needed, which
Hmm.
is a good place to be.
Hmm.
But I think as we identify and continue to identify strategic next steps and what we want to do to take advantage of those, certainly that's an option.
Hmm. Was is the team today, the management team today, are they folks that have been with the company, or did you, when you moved into kind of the CEO role, did you
Yeah.
kind of take another look at the team composition?
No, the team composition is the same, is relatively the same.
Hmm.
So that's been great. I mean, we have people who have lots of years of healthcare experience around us, so that's always great. Whether it's on the data side, whether it's on the product side or the sales side, it's all over, and specifically the pharmacy side, I'd say. It's
Uh-huh.
also great. So we have a team of pharmacists also that are part of our R&D team, and so it's a good team.
Hmm.
It's a great team.
Given that you've been around the block in terms of, leading companies, do you have you kind of like developed a general philosophy on how you like to lead?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you'll learn a lot from different folks. I've taken some from different leaders along the way. I'd say there's two probably CEOs that I've worked with. One was really focused on how to build the company the right way, right? Not looking at like you mentioned kind of down the road of another raise or something like that, of not looking too far ahead. Build it how
Hmm.
you want to build it for the success that it needs to be today, and how to make the right decisions for today rather than what you think could happen in the future, because who knows what will happen. And the other CEO is, I think I took a lot from in terms of team, people, and working with people and building out a team, trust in the team, and and how to work collaboratively with everyone. And I taken a lot from both of those to kind of influence what I'm doing today.